Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Movie Battleground. I am your your fill-in host today, Henry Confidential. Aaron is away on vacation, and we're giving him a life. He does a lot over here. So this one's going to be a fun one because we have two competitors that have studied, have prepped, and are going to bring it here on the Movie Battleground. We have Papa West and we have Jordan Owens. So I'm going to bring in Papa West first, talk to him, see what he thinks, and get a little insight in his brain. Papa West, you dressed up for the occasion? Are you dressing up for your opponent's funeral, or are you dressing up, because it's more lovey-dovey?
I am dressing up because when you look good, you perform well. You got to dress for success. It might be a funeral for Jordan, and if that's the case, I'm ready.
usually people wear black for funerals, but that's always up for interpretation. So without giving any specifics to the questions and your general prep, do you feel like you're prepared for this match? And is there any specific without giving it away, but are there any questions that you are like really ready to talk about most?
So, Henry, fun fact, I'm a two-time champion in TMG debates. You don't get that way by not prepping for your matches, which I always prep, even the ones I don't feel confident about. This one, I feel confident about.
That's what I like to hear. So since you're super confident, I'm going to let you go ahead and gather your thoughts for a second, and then we're going to go over to your opponent, Jordan Owens. Jordan, me and you have had some weird trivia things on the side, but this is a true competitive state. What are your thoughts? Are you as prepped as your opponent, who apparently is, or are you just here to see what happens?
A little bit of both, man. I'm used to being the underdog, and I've come out on top in a couple of surprises in other leagues. So let's see if I can redo that magic here. I've been looking forward to a movie debate, so let's see how things go. I'm very optimistic.
That's what I'm talking about. So we also have some judges with me that I'll bring up once we get to the end of the rounds. We have Chris Diaz, Chadwick Webb, and Sean Hunter. So I'll be bringing them on once we get the end of each round. But before that, we're going to start off with round one, and that is going to be what film that Kevin Smith only acted in would have been better with him directing it, and why? So Jordan is going to be going first for this one. So we'll let him do his opening, and then we'll bounce back and forth. And at this point, you should know the drill. So whenever you're ready, me and Papa West, we are going to be out.
Alrighty, so Kevin Smith, I love the man, so I'm happy to be talking about this question here. And then what movie is he in that he should have been the director of? I'm going to go with Southland Tales. This is an odd piece of work that didn't quite work, and I think mostly because the director is just not a comedic director, and he tried making a funny movie. Look at this cast. I can spend the entire minute talking about this great eclectic cast that he put together of The Rock and Sarah Michelle Gellar and Mandy Moore and John Lovitz and Cheryl Terry and the Highlanders in it. And there's so many people every 5 seconds. Nora Dunn, all right. And the humor just doesn't land. The Rock's reading his lines kind of odd. I felt like he was going this overly long thing. Justin Timberlake breaks out into The Killers. I really feel like if you just went full bore, comedy with it, you could have had a lot of fun. I think Kevin Smith would have brought that attitude to it. I believe he has no legs in the movie, and so his part's even weird. But even that part, he's just kind of in it, and I felt like even that wasn't really explored as well. So, one movie that I think would fit Kevin Smith's universe and world, where there's fun, unique characters, and comedic actors. We've seen Timberlake and be quite funny. We know Lovitz is funny, and Kevin Smith used to like Lovitz. It did at the time. So I think Southland Tales would be a really fun movie if he was at the helm.
And just a little backstory on what we're doing is, as you can see, it's a brand new timer. It's beautiful, but this is a new process of doing it. So, thank you, Kevin, for running the show in the background, and I'm sure it'll be fine-tuned in the future. But as we all know, it takes a little bit of time. So with that said, Papa West, we're going to jump over to your opening 60 seconds when you begin talking there. I was saving him some time.
Mortal Thoughts, Billy Bathgate, Pulp Fiction. He went on to list several other movies after this. I'd follow Willis's career anywhere, even to Hudson Hawk. I'm quoting a Kevin Smith MySpace blog that he posted back in 2007. Kevin Smith is one thing, and that is a fan. He's a fan of comic books. We've seen him actually create comic books. He's a fan of weed. He smokes it. He makes stoner comedies. He is a fan of Bruce Willis, and he had an amazing opportunity to be in Live Free or Die Hard, the fourth film in the Die Hard franchise, which unfortunately was not a great film. However, if we see Kevin Smith directing it, a ton of stuff he could have changed. One nice thing about Live Free or Die Hard, it's kind of gotten a cult following to it. Right after it came out, everyone was like, "Ooh, I hate this." And then people are like, "No, it's not horrible. It definitely has a lot of stuff that needs fixing, but it's not like the worst film ever made," which is exactly why Kevin Smith would have done a much better job had he have directed the film. I have no idea how much time I have left, so...
Yeah, like I said, it's a work in progress.
I don't care about my last 20 seconds.
Okay, we're good. All right, so I'm sure he'll be able to handle this in post. It's a work in progress. So whenever Kevin, all right, there we go. All righty. All right, so Jordan, now we're gonna bounce back over to you for your chance to rebut. 2 minutes when you begin talking.
All right, absolutely here. The first thing Papa said is Kevin Smith is a fan of Bruce Willis, and he loves Bruce Willis at the time. That doesn't mean Kevin Smith should nor would want to even direct this movie. Kevin Smith is a fan of Marvel and DC and has straight up said he's not an action director. He has done the TV stuff because he's just kind of another cog in the wheel and it's already well set up. He has turned down movies like this before. So he doesn't want to direct this big action movie. Yes, the movie has its problems, but the action is not the problem. So if anything, I hate to say, liking Kevin Smith, the movie would have been worse with Kevin Smith because he wouldn't have had the finesse that those action scenes had. He wouldn't know how to really stage that big plane scene or the fight with the girl down the elevator shaft. He wouldn't know how to stage those because he doesn't do those things because it's just not his cup of coffee. You also mentioned he's a weed guy. At the time, he wasn't. So he wasn't a weed guy at the time and has since kind of disdained for Bruce Willis after working with him on Cop Out. And even this started a little bit of a downfall for him. So I don't think that Die Hard makes sense for a Kevin Smith movie here. I think all the wacky characters that were given in Southland Tales very much fits him. I'm looking to have Kevin Smith make these movies better. Both these movies can be made better, but unfortunately with your movie, I think he's actually making it worse. And in my movie, I feel like you could take all this wackiness and really condense it, make it a little bit shorter. That's another problem with it. I tried rewatching Southland Tales, and I thought I was well done, and then found out I had another hour and something to go. So he can help condense that story down. It fits his wheelhouse so much more. He'd be more interested in doing it with that kind of cast than he would in just this big budget blockbuster. That's something that I don't think he would want to do mostly because he knows it's not his fit. Time.
And that is time. So now we are going to bounce back over to Papa West for his 2-minute rebuttal whenever he begins speaking.
So yes, recently Kevin Smith has said that he doesn't want to do action or Marvel stuff. However, this is back in 2007. We really don't know if Kevin Smith would have done it. I'm sure he would have been ecstatic of doing it, especially giving him free reign of something. This is the only Die Hard film to be PG-13. It definitely had issues because of that, where you weren't able to get all the action. You weren't able to get all the yippee-ki-yay motherfucker and all the quitty one-liners that John McClane is known for. Another thing, the villain, Timothy Olyphant, is acting really weird. Plus, I don't see him as a hacker. Literally the entire movie, he has his guy sitting at the computer that he's watching hack. And then, there's one point he's like, "Go away, I can do this." And I'm like, I don't see him as a hacker. I would definitely... I think Kevin Smith would want to recast that role. And the other thing, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, I love her, but she is thrown into this movie Really, to kind of go back to Die Hard 1, where he's saving his wife. Okay, we're going to go back to that, where he's saving his daughter. It's really something that's not needed. She's in the elevator. Timothy Olyphant's character goes, "Who do you want to call to let you know you're in danger?" "Call my dad. I just 2 hours said I don't want to talk to him ever again, but I want him to know that I'm stuck in an elevator." Because that makes no sense. Which is exactly what Southland Tales is, by the way. No sense. You're right. We watched it. You get halfway through it. You're like, yay, we're done. No, you still have 2 hours. The Rock, Sean William Scott, Justin Timberlake, like huge cast of characters who have no idea what they're doing. Talk about that one guy who's into comedy. He's a blonde hair Terminator style cop who just shoots 3 random people and is
time. All right, so both competitors now did their opening and did their rebuttals. Now we are going to finally get the gloves off, and they're going to be able to scrap back and forth where Movie Battleground is most known. So 4 minutes will be on the clock for the open freeform fight, and whenever you're ready, hopefully.
You're wrong about him not wanting to do comic book movies recently. He's said it for many years, dating back to even the late 90s when he's tried writing stuff, because he likes to do films he can control on a smaller budget. He wouldn't be able to recast Timothy Olyphant because he'd have to do what the studio wants him to. It's a big budget movie. He'd still have to do what Bruce Willis wants him to. Plus, he liked Timothy Olyphant. He called him Timothy Olyphantastic.
not after that movie. I mean, if he says, hey, I'm directing this film, this guy's not a fucking hacker. Like, why is he here? They'll be like, yeah, we should recast that. And how you're going to fix Southland Tales?
We have millions of dollars in this, we can replace you like that, and then he would go back and make a movie for a quarter of the budget.
You know how you're going to fix Southland Tales? Throwing it in the trash and leaving it be. It's supposedly World War III. Now it's a mystery about a Hollywood actor who's missing. Oh, no, he's secretly been there the entire time. And then, no, now this business is in charge of the world. Like, there's way too much going on, and that's not something to be condensed into a feature-length movie.
Film the studios aren't staring at so hard like a Die Hard. He can help fix that. He can he can focus on that actor being lost or whatever he finds
by throwing out the entire movie.
Out several characters. No, by fixing it, by adding to it the way Kevin Smith could, by condensing in. There's some fun characters, some fun ideas, and he can condense
who's fun in that movie? Who is fun in that movie?
There's some fun dialogue stuff by The Rock. You mentioned John Lovitz as the blonde-haired cop. He's playing a different character we've ever seen Lovitz play before. And if you could really condense that down and throw out some of the other stuff, maybe with Mandy Moore or Wallace Shawn, again, other great actors, like there is a story that could be told here that he can condense that add to his wheelhouse more than Die Hard, which is not his wheelhouse.
I really, he's never done it before. He's never done action. But that doesn't mean he can't try. I think back in 2007, that'd be perfect for him to say, hey, I can do action, and I'm going to take this beloved franchise of Die Hard, and I'm going to make this film great. He's great at comedy. Bring in the one-liners. Like, yes, that scene where he's looking at Timothy Olyphant's character, and Timothy Olyphant's like, this is going to be on your gravestone. You were too late. And he's like, how about yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker? And then shoots himself. That's an amazing scene.
We're again wrong by saying he's going to be able to do an R-rated movie. He's not. The studio is plowing money into this machine. It's PG-13. Whether we like it or not, it was yippee-ki-yay extend to an action shot because we can't hear MFer. Whether Kevin Smith was behind the realm, that's not going to change. He can do his comedy. He can say motherfucker all he wants in Southland Tales, and he would like that, and he would like working with those people. He's going to be handcuffed, which he knows in Die Hard.
But again, if you're a big studio and you take a well-known director, you're going to listen to him. When he's like, hey, we need to make this rated R.
He's a known director that's making 40, 60 million.
Star Wars did the exact same thing with J.J. Abrams. Star Wars did that with J.J. Abrams. Like, hey, let's get a story going. We're going to give you full reign. And it worked for Episode 7. And then they started getting into
so many examples of the opposite where there's been good directors that have been handcuffed and thrown around. Look at the first Suicide Squad, There's plenty of options for the other way, too.
Yeah, but David Ayer, I'm not going to trust with anything. And that was before I watched Suicide Squad. Kevin Smith, I'll trust
He's
with
made
just
good
about
movies.
anything.
We would,
Jonathan,
yeah, but I don't think the studio's gonna go. You know what, guys? He made Chasing Amy and made a solid 40 million. Let's really trust him with this thing that we're hoping to get 100, 200 million back. They're not gonna do that. As much as we would love for them to do that.
no, but they're going to look at his writing and be like, man, this is a clever guy. He knows his stuff. He's a
They're not
fan.
gonna get
He
that
can make
far.
some gold.
Time. All right. So with that, the open forum is over. So we're going to go on to the closings, 1 minute each. So we're going to start off with Jordan for his 1 minute closing when he begins speaking.
All right, so just so wrap this up here, guys. Southland Tales, it has potential if you make it just this. If you go for the humor, you try to take out cars having sex and all this extra stuff, where you make it the 2.5 hour movie and you make it a fun, tight hour and a half wacky ride with crazy characters that Kevin Smith can control. He's had several people he's worked with before, like Sean William Scott, John Lovitz. All these funny actors from SNL are in there. It's got potential, and it's in his wheelhouse. It's R-rated. It's trying to be a comedy. He can make it straightforward, more of a wacky comedy. Where Die Hard, it's not in his wheelhouse. One, he wouldn't be interested in doing it in real life. I don't think the studios will let him do it. It wouldn't change the movie. The movie, at the end of the day, for Die Hard, would still be a PG-13 movie with, I'm sorry, slightly less well-done action scenes that aren't in his wheelhouse. Give him a comedy with a great cast, and we might get a great movie.
And time. All right. And the last little bit of talking about this question, Sifley, Papa West, 1 minute when you begin speaking.
Southland Tales is like another movie 43. There's so much going on. If you condense it into something good, it's like maybe a 30-minute movie, little vignettes. The movie makes no sense. With Live Free or Die Hard, I would trust Kevin Smith with just about anything. Again, get rid of Timothy Oliphant. Had it been like in the starting of the film when they're casting everything, be like, hey, I don't see him as a hacker. Maybe get him to do something else, but not a hacker. Mary Elizabeth Winstead said this character doesn't make sense. And with Southland Tales, the whole movie doesn't make sense. Again, John Lovitz, hilarious guy. The entire movie, he's a Terminator wannabe. Boom, I kill you. Boom, and he has this face the entire time. Sean William Scott is so weird in this movie. They do a random scene where he's seeing himself. It doesn't make sense. That movie cannot be condensed because you don't have substance for an actual film. It's 28 different things going on. It's not one film that can be fixed. Live Free or Die Hard can be fixed.
All right, so we're going to move on and bring in the judges right now. All right, judges are in here. Give them a couple seconds to gather their thoughts, and then we will go in the order that they just popped up on screen right now. So I'll go Chad, Sean, and Chris, and then we'll pick an order from there. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Chad, in 30 seconds left, please provide one solid point of why you chose the person you chose, and then give the answer of who you say wins this round.
Sure. Well, I'll say who won it for me now. I picked Jordan. And the reason I did is because he said that Kevin wouldn't have much pull with the studio to change Live Free or Die Hard. I think he pitched a really good, funnier Southland Tales, and he said something about Kevin doesn't know how to do action.
All right, so we got 1 point for Jordan. Sean, in 30 seconds left, provide about one piece of information that backs your point and who you chose.
I was really hoping Jordan would bring in how Kevin Smith felt about working with Bruce Willis during Cop Out. I think that would have been fun. But I, as well, I'm going to go with Jordan just because I just felt like what he was saying about Southland Tales, Kevin Smith making that a better film, and all his points were good. So, yeah, I'm going with Jordan.
All right, so with that said, well, unfortunately, we're not going to hear from Chris on this one, and we're going to move on with Jordan starting off the match with the very first, I guess he spoiled his answer. All right, so Jordan gets the first point. We're going to bring them back on, and we'll go over to question 2.
And with that, I quit. All right, and up on top. Bye.
Yeah, right.
Is that how that works?
I don't think
No.
so.
Let's open.
So Jordan, he got the very first point, so we're going to move on to question 2, which is, What is the worst Joe Carnahan film? And Jacob is the going first on this one, so we will be getting his opening, which is 1 minute, whenever he starts talking.
In 2007, Joe Carnahan directed a really fun, just nonstop action movie by the name of Smokin' Aces. Then in 2010, he decided to produce a film known as Smokin' Aces 2: Assassin's Ball. Literally, the only thing that's the same between the two films is the title of Smokin' Aces. No characters transferred over, no plot transferred over. We're just going to transfer the name. And let me tell you, this movie sucks. The entire time I'm watching this film, I'm just uncomfortable. You have Martha Higuereta as Ariella, one of the assassins in the film, is about to be forced into giving oral sex twice, and then uses everyone's favorite part of Batman and Robin, fake lips, to get out of the situation. Fake lips shouldn't be in any film, Batman or Smokin' Aces 2: Assassin's Ball.
Alrighty, that is 1 minute opening from Jacob, and we're gonna jump over to Jordan for his 1 minute opening when he begins talking.
Alrighty. Well, speaking of other disasters by good old Mr. Carnahan, Jesus Christ Cat, going with the fourth kind, not Jesus Christ Cat, he's not in the movie. So this is a movie it's trying to have a little bit of your found footage that everyone's crazy about. It's trying to have some actual actors that maybe people will give a shit about, and it fails on both levels here. It's boring. It's not well written in any way, mostly because it's just boring. There's almost nothing to it. They tried obviously having a small budget, but that kind of counteracts itself by having actors in it that probably had a couple bucks worth it. So it has a dreadful of a non-ending. It's one of those movies that somehow makes you even less of a fan as you're walking out of it, because you're just wondering, where did the time go? Where did my money go? It never at any point really is it entertaining. It doesn't do anything different than you haven't seen 1,000 times before, and 7.5 times out of 10 done way better. So I'm going with the fourth kind.
Alrighty, and that is time. All right, we're gonna bounce back over to Papa West for his rebuttal. 2 minutes when he begins talking.
So I already brought up the character of Ariella. You also have Vinnie Jones as Finbar McTeague, which everybody knows. Vinnie Jones is the greatest action star, because he rocked in The Condemned and X-Men 3. So we have to throw him in again because he's awesome. No, he's not. He starts out being known as the Surgeon, and so you're expecting someone who is technical with all their stuff. I'm going to punch you right here because it's in between your third and fourth rib and it stops your heart. No, he actually just does cool surgeon stuff in his introduction and then shoots guns a lot in the rest of the film. You have the Tremor family, who are a bunch of inbred neo-Nazis who the son and daughter keep making comments about having sex with each other because that's fun. You have Tom Berenger as Walter Weed, who is works with the FBI doing something. They never explain what it is. Turns out he has a hit against him, where at 3 o'clock in the morning, he is supposed to be killed, and it pays the assassins $3 million on whoever kills him. During the entire movie, he's just a boring, no-person character. And of course, they're like, why do they want to kill you? I don't know. And then at the end, well, this is why they want to kill me. And then it comes out he's actually not an informant. He's secretly a big bad guy. No one asked for that twist. Everyone saw it coming. It wasn't exciting or anything. Clayne Crawford, he's Agent Baker. He is the agent who is always with Walter Weed. He's yelling, "What are you doing? Don't let him in! Why do they want to kill you?" The entire time, he's a bland character. At least with the fourth kind, you have found footage and acting reenactment together. I've never seen that before. I've seen found footage. I've seen reenactment. This film actually tried by morphing the two together, whereas Smokin' Aces 2 tried just sucked,
And
and it
time.
succeeded.
All right, we're going to bounce over to Jordan for his 2-minute rebuttal before we get into the freeform when they go back and forth. 2 minutes, Jordan, when you begin speaking.
When you look at things directed DVD/streaming and you find Smoking Aces 2 subtitle, Who Gives a Shiznit, do you really expect anything better? It's a directed DVD sequel to even the first one's got its big flaws. So what do you really expect from that, man? Did anyone expect anything from Street Kings 2 or the last 3 Universal Soldier movies? Of course it's going to be bad. But at least you were able to name some characters and some weird, interesting shit that I kind of want to see now. You're kind of selling me on the movie, Papa. I might go see if it's on Netflix or Prime here in a second, because at least it sounds like it's a fun train wreck at the very least. Mine's boring. Yes, it tried mixing 2 different things, which is why it got my butt in the seat for a DVD rental at Blockbuster. That was a thing back in the day. But then I ended up, I feel like I really wasted my time. It's not a fun watch. You watch it with your friends. I did watch it with 2 of my friends, in fact. Logan loves horror movies. Bored out of his mind as well. I can't give you my character names because, gun to head, I don't remember because it just does nothing that's interesting. At least some stuff happens with yours. And make fun of Vinnie Jones, he's still kind of fun to watch. He's Vinnie Jones. He's the Juggernaut, bitch. But at least he is a perfect B-movie villain or hero, whatever he happens to be in yours, man. At least yours was what you expect from a directed DVD movie. Mine went to theaters. They wanted this to be something. They wanted this to be their version of Blair Witch, where they can make it for cheap and have 7 of them. The fact that we haven't seen The Fourth Kind 2, Electric Boogaloo, pop up on our streaming networks shows you how much it failed, because we haven't seen anyone try to repeat this movie, even though you probably do it for $10 with me and you as the lead characters. Just selling that out right now. If anyone wants to fund that project, me and Papa are available. So yeah, I mean, something happens in yours, and you can at least have fun with your friends and laugh and go, yeah, this isn't the first one, that's for damn sure. Mine, you're going to look into be changing the channel, and there's lots of channels.
And time. So before we get into the 2-minute or the 4-minute open debate, I just want to remind both competitors that the answers were accepted for a reason, so you can use anything you want to go on your argument, but let's not get into semantics of X, Y, and Z because the answers were accepted. So with that said, 4 minutes when one of you competitors start talking.
Yeah, just saying it's direct to DVD doesn't mean anything. A lot of good films have come out direct to DVD, and again, it had the name Smoking Aces. A good film back in 2005, I believe it was. So you do kind of expect something, and the fact that you can't remember the names Dr. Abigail Tyler, Sheriff August, and Abel Campos when they were physically posted everywhere in the movie. Yes, I wrote it down because you're supposed to write stuff down, and then because I can't pronounce this guy's name, Olatunde Asunsamni, who directs the film, but then is also interviewing Dr. Abigail Tyler throughout the film. Names are plastered everywhere. Like, don't tell me you can't remember those names. They're easy to remember.
I don't want to watch the movie again. I have no interest. Why would I remember? I gun ahead, you would have never remembered either. I mean, yeah, if we did research, yeah, okay, I could have written it down. But I'm just saying.
Dr. Abigail Tyler is a very easy name.
These are not moments you remember. You would remember some of your moments 6 months, a year later and go, oh, yeah, that crazy scene. I can't tell you anything where it lasted for more than a couple days.
So you don't remember any of the possession scenes in your film where they have side by side the reenactment and then the found footage stuff? That stuff is chilling. Like, I was watching this last night. I'm like, edge on my seat, suspenseful.
On paper, yes. On paper, it's a decent idea that they don't execute. Whether it's the footage they put it by, whether it's the way it's shot, you're never invested the way they want you to be invested in that movie.
You weren't, and your friends weren't. There were some people who were. There have been so many people going to Nome, Alaska just to research, did this actually happen? Can I find Dr. Tyler's daughter who goes missing in the film?
And I'm sure
can I talk to some of these people?
Love Smoking Aces too. Let's not talk about those 1.5 people. Like, I mean, what do you mean? How many people have really done that, man?
Actually, a lot of people. At the very end of the film, they talk about just the FBI have gone to Nome, Alaska since the events of the film.
You mean at the
like
end of its own movie, they hype its own movie? No way.
Yeah.
Let's believe all those facts and take that.
that's
to heart.
usually how documentary films go. They let you know facts of
documentary
behind the scenes stuff and stuff that happens afterwards. It happens in every documentary. So of course they're going to do it in here.
Strangers is based on a true story, even though there was absolutely no killings in the real life one. Like, come on, you know that it's hyperbole. It's to make you walk away going, oh, just like it did to you, evidently. Where it's, oh, wow, maybe, but no. I mean, anyone that really has 2 cents that wasn't somehow sucked in by nothing footage. Come on.
Which is why if you Google search "did the fourth kind," the next whenever it gives you the predictive text, it says actually happened, because people after they watched it wanted to know. They wanted to know, did this actually happen? Because yes, you didn't like it. That's okay. Some people were intrigued. They wanted to know, did this happen? Because it did its job of letting you know a story. Again, Olatunde, I'm going to quit pronouncing his name. This is his only directed film. He's produced a couple films.
Did you know
he actually wrote.
Director never made another movie. There's a reason.
Well, he actually produced several films before this film came out. He has said this is a passion project of his because it's a story that needs to come out. Guess what? He had a job. Get his story out.
Can't wait in another decade where another director maybe tackles it and does the proper job. Your movie, man, like I said, you actually sold it to me as something fun that you can at least gather and have a couple of friends with and make fun of. It's a fun, pulpy sequel, just like the last couple Kickboxers or something like that. It's what you would expect from a franchise that has gone down. This is a movie that tried to be something that wasn't.
I love how you say it's fun. None of this film is fun.
And time. All right, so that was definitely interesting approach from both competitors, but now they are going to be able to talk solo in their closings, 1 minute at a time, starting off with Papa West.
I would love for you to tell me, Jordan, what fun scenes came out of Smokin' Aces 2 Assassin's Ball, because this movie, just like Southland Tales, was boring and way too long. However, with The Four Kind, you had at least 3 scenes where you have the person being possessed by aliens in the reenactment side by side with the found footage stuff, and it's just like, it's so thrilling, like what is going on. It's so intriguing. Yes, it's the only time we've seen it because it's not great, but it worked for what it was doing. So many people after this film were like, did this stuff actually happen? What's the story? Again, Dr. Abigail Tyler, towards the end of the film, the aliens abduct her daughter. So she ends up getting possessed just to find her daughter. So many people have gone to Nome, Alaska to look to see if they can find her daughter or find any trace, see if they can get possessed by aliens or find any alien possession.
And time. All right, we're going to end this question here with Jordan on your closing whenever you begin speaking.
I like how you mentioned how my movie has multiple times the same gimmick, because that's what it is. It has one gimmick on its mind, and it milks it. It milks it to the point where even if you did buy into it the first time, by the third, by the fourth time, you're bored and you're overdone with it because you've seen the trick. You've shown me the rabbit out of the hat. Now quit pulling the rabbit out of the hat. Move on to the handkerchief trick. But they never go to the handkerchief. They just keep pulling the rabbit out of the hat because it has one gimmick, and it doesn't even do it that well the first time, let alone the third time. You say it makes people believe. It made more people believe even less. I've seen things on True TV where I'm more intrigued by whether or not it's true than the way this film handles it. Your film, man, I mean, it is what it is, and I don't think it ever tried to be anything that it's not, unlike my film. Your film just wanted to be an eclectic cast of characters, now a B-movie set of characters. Vinnie Jones, the king of that. It sounds like it was a fun, wacky time.
And time. All righty, so question 2 is in the books. We're going to drop the competitors back. We're going to bring the judges on screen, and we're going to see who won round 2. All right, that was definitely an interesting approach. That's what I love about this league. You get unique questions like this where you just get to talk about some totally out of the box film. So I've answered it long enough. We are going to start with Chris In 30 seconds or less, please provide one general reason of why you're picking who you're picking and who you are picking.
That makes it crazy. Papa West went with it. I thought he brought up so many examples in the movie, and his defense, like, for the first time, was interesting up to the point at Dusty Jordan Teeth repeating the same thing over and over again, trying to tear down. So I went Papa West.
All right. So the first vote is going to go for Papa West. We're going to bounce over to Chad. In 30 seconds or less, please provide your general reason on why you're picking who you're picking and who you are picking.
Yeah, I also went with Papa because I just really like the point where he said that at least with the fourth kind, at least people have gone out to like kind of seek out stuff based on that movie, whereas, you know, his movie, nothing like that really happened. So it's kind of got some real world cool stuff you can do with it. All
right. So with that said, we are giving the second point to Papa West. We have ourselves a tie game. I was trying to say 1-1 game, and I said tie game. We'll leave that in. Thank you very much, Sean. We'll get your next one. So with that said, we have a tie game. It is 1-1. You like that tie? I think I was just looking. I was thinking of Wes's tie when I said that. Question 3. What is the best performance by an actor done through CGI motion capture? So with that said, Jordan is the number one person for this question. That was a terrible way to describe that. So starting off with the openings, 1 minute whenever you are ready.
Yes, you know, when I think of performance, I think of something that can truly kind of suck me in and make me forget that I'm watching an actor. And CGI, that's going to be even trickier because usually if it's CGI, you're looking at a monster or you're looking at another world creature. And I went with Zoe Saldana in Avatar because not only are we supposed to believe her as Neytiri, this big blue alien creature, you're also supposed to kind of fall in love with her. You're supposed to see the world from her perspective and see why Sam Worthington's character makes the decisions he does in the end. And it works, man. I mean, I think there's a reason why this movie initially left people on a real big high of wanting to be in this world. And it's because of a big part to this character that Saldana plays of showing you this life and this idealism and wanting to be a part of it, man. And being down for seeing two blue creatures make sweet, sweet love. And yes, that's how I'm going to end my time.
All righty. And that is time. So we're going to bounce back over to Papa West. 1 minute when he begins speaking.
So when you think of CGI motion capture, you immediately think of one man, and that is Andy Serkis. So of course I'm going to pick the role where he made CGI motion capture a thing, put it on the map. The Lord of the Rings franchise, I'm just going to stick with one film, and that is The Two Towers. You might be asking yourself, Papa West, this is an amazing franchise. Why are you sticking it down to one movie? Because his performance in this one movie outshines the other two. In The Fellowship, he literally peeks his head over a thing, and that's it. And then the third, he's just flat-out crazy Gollum. But in The Two Towers, he has that inner conflict of, I want the ring, oh, but now I'm serving Frodo. He's actually a friend to me. I can be a friend back to him. You see the duality of Schmeagol and Gollum. And then it ends up, he turns into Gollum, hungry for the ring, is going to do anything to kill Frodo and Sam to get his ring back. Oh, and he does it all by himself in the entire film.
And time. All right, so we got their initial openings. Now it's time for the rebuttals. Jordan, 2 minutes when you begin speaking.
Yeah, man, you picked the obvious answer, and for a reason, man. Andy Serkis, you know, has gotten that reputation of being that guy in this field. It's still at the end of the day, I feel like to me, it's a showy performance. It's a chewing the scenery performance here, and you can see that. You still sense that very much. This is a performance. This is an actor doing something behind kind of a green screen. Where I don't know. I've always just really appreciated the performances where I do get sucked out of it, and I believe to her as this character here. I don't see an actor trying to do something and talking back and forth, and I just got so much more sucked into this world all of a sudden also wanted to defend that world and jump in and fight the good fight. And she plays such a great character who also does get to show some different levels of not only vulnerability and love, but also of fierceness and her fighting for her planet and her way of life. And I just thought at the end of the day, it was such a grounded, beautiful performance here. Circus is, he's trying to put on that circus. You see what I did there? And so, yeah, I'm going to concede my time. That's what I got.
All right. Definitely an interesting approach, but we're going to bounce back over to Jacob for his 2 minutes, potentially, whenever he begins speaking. Maybe.
So we get this time to finish up.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Have fun editing this, Aaron.
Awkward silence.
We'll be all right.
Yeah, I would try to forward it, but no.
Makes sense. That's all right.
And Jacob, we'll move on to your 2-minute rebuttal whenever you begin speaking.
So, Jordan, I'm really confused with how you opened that because you said Andy Serkis is a performance. You don't want to see a performance. The question is, what is the best performance? So, way to use words. With Zoe Saldana's Neytiri, she's very outshined in that movie by Sam Worthington's Jake Sully, who is in another motion capture suit and is doing the exact same thing she does. I much prefer the performance of, hey, being thrown into this world, being told to do something, and then, oh, hey, this is actually not what's going on. This is a beautiful world that I'm in. So you picked the wrong performance in the film. And then with Andy Serkis, like, the dude was alone when he was filming. The exact same thing happened in the Hobbit series. Gandalf was alone because he was not super tall compared to everyone else, and he hated it. Andy Serkis was alone because he can't really have a guy crawling around, and he took motion capture CGI and ran with it after the fact. First off, this is an older guy who, of course, because I'm a big fat guy, can't really do this well, but he is like standing up and crouching and has his hands like this while in a weird suit with balls on you. That's pretty amazing. And he has an amazing accent. He has two voices. He has the, hi, I'm Schmiger. I master. And this is a horrible impression, I know, but it works. And then, my precious. Again, another horrible accent. I don't do impersonations. I just make comments about things. You see him literally play two characters in a movie. Neytiri plays one. That's not even the best performance in the film as far as motion capture goes. And the sex is really awkward. And plus having sex with animals.
And time. And thank God we get 2 minutes for the rebuttals because we wouldn't have got those impressions without them. But things started off a little hot in that rebuttal, so now we are officially going to take the gloves off, and hopefully our pants are on if you jump on that chair again. 4 minutes when one of you begins speaking.
I'm not taking my shorts off at any time, so we don't have to worry about that. Also, Jordan, you talk about, the amazingness of that sex scene. They put their ponytails on animals and in a tree. And so I really don't understand, like, after watching that movie, anything that's going on with that entire world.
They're not going to do it the way we do it. It would be weird if they did. No, you're talking about a performance.
They still do it.
I'm just saying, there's a big difference between performance. Look at me, I'm a creature, and then actually forgetting that you're watching this blue creature fight over this fake planet, and actually giving a shit about that planet, giving a crap about that creature. That's all I mean. Is that it's a performance that you can actually dive into. It's not, you're not just staring at an obviously showy performance. Is what I mean by that. And you also had to be amazing acrobatics. I mean, Saldana had to do as much, if not more, movements than Serkis with all the stunts that she had to do, which she did mostly herself.
In very closed spaces where everything was protected, so it really wasn't that fantastic. And the reason everyone falls in love with this world is because it's a beautiful world. And then you have Stephen Lang, just the corruptness of him, where he's like, oh, we're actually trying to take this tree and take all the resources out of it. Like, you fall in love with the world for many reasons outside of Zoe Saldana's performance.
You don't fall in love with that character. You don't. It doesn't help with that world, man. She's in the world way more than Worthington's character. Everyone admits that he's kind of boring, but he's the one that gets us to her that makes us actually care. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
you know, it's a nice performance, man. But I just didn't want to go with, you know what I mean, the obvious one. I want to go with one that I thought is so undersung, and it's a real true life form of how you can take CGI and just bring us to another world. But
which is not because of Zoe Saldana. Again, you're tied to this world because you're following the story of Jake Sully. That is the best performance of that film. And what does she do outside of any? What does she do outside of any of the other alien creatures? I can't think of what they're called at the moment. But like you see every alien creature.
No. With the conversations they had, you're able to see the love, the fighting, the heritage, the family. No, you're able to see all of that within that character, and she shows him the world. That's the reason why all of a sudden he goes deep dive into that world.
Again, you just said, you see all that. You see all that with other characters too. You see the family with her father and her mother, with Sigourney Weaver's character, how she has been an outsider and now she is being welcomed into this community. You see all that with her. You see all the crazy action stuff with Sam Worthington. You don't really have to have Zoe Saldana's character in that film.
No,
guess what? If you don't have Gollum,
you'd miss almost everything for the reason why he would turn. You're missing half the movie there.
Because he realizes that the Earth is
another. And you can really also argue Gollum's just another cog in the wheel to fight along the way. You can technically take that character out, and it's not going to affect that movie. There's still plenty.
How are Frodo and Sam getting to Mordor? That is exactly 100% Gollum's purpose, is to get them there. He is in through most of the film, and you get to see the duality of characters. Someone going from, hey, this is my friend, to I hate this person, all because of the power of the ring, which is an amazing performance, which Zoe Saldana, you just see her as, oh, I'm not sure about this guy. Okay, now I love him. There's not a great, that's any love story. You don't really see anything.
You're oversimplifying it.
That's what you think.
And that's what we think. Time. Moving on to our closing arguments now at the end of this question. Definitely interesting with this lag. I'm having so much fun figuring out, is this a kung fu movie or is this a debate? So we're going to start off with Jordan. Jordan, you're going to be starting first. 1 minute when you begin speaking.
I enjoy my performance. I think it's a very 360 performance from a character that you do forget. You don't walk out. You walk out of seeing Gollum, and you do very much see the actor performing underneath it. You go, okay, that was Andy Serkis. You can almost forget that it is always so down a performance here when you name her best features, her best roles, because of the way that it just becomes another character, and you fall in love with a teary, not necessarily this showy jazz hands performance here. So I just thought it helps you suck you into this world. You don't get the outcome. You don't buy into the final battle if it's not for Jake falling in love with her to get to that final battle here. You don't get to the outcome that you want from that movie here. Gollum is a fun side character here, but so how do they get to the other place? There's plenty of other ways they could have got there. It's to help make this movie a 3-hour-long movie by adding him in there. Miles a more world-viewed performance.
And time. And we're going to wrap up this question here with Papa Wes's 1 minute closing when he begins speaking.
In The Fellowship of the Ring, famous quote, one does not simply walk into Mordor. Mountainous area, it's hard to get in. Really the one opening is a big black gate. Oh, which Gollum takes Frodo and Sam to? And then takes them to the actual way they get in. He is a very needed character. You see a duality, him playing two characters pretty much, fighting each other, that just so happens to be one person. Guess what? It's like he has voices in his head. That's a lot of people. Again, Zoe Saldana doesn't do anything that Jake Sully doesn't, Sam Worthington doesn't do. It's not the best performance. And when you think of motion capture, you think of Andy Serkis. The fact that you're like, oh, well, the performance is over the top. He's playing a mythical creature. Zoe Saldana is playing an alien, which Zoe Saldana, you don't even think of Neytiri. You think more of Nebula, whichever MCU character she is. You think of her a lot more. When you think of Andy Serkis, you think of Gollum.
All right, so we are going to bring our competitors to the back and bring our judges in, and we're gonna, have an interesting decision for this one. All right, so I don't do much fact checking because I'm not going to go out of my way to do it. But there are two things that were brought up that aren't, going to sway the thing. But they're called the Na'vi, and she plays Gamora in the MCU. So I figured that those are just two things that I would bring up. So we're going to start off with Sean on this one. Sean, in 30 seconds or less, please provide your general reason of why you're picking who you're picking and who you are picking.
I'm going to have to go with Papa on this one. I just thought he talked a lot more about the performance. Gave specifics about the duality of Andy Serkis's performance, the different voices he had to do, how much more physical he was. I just painted a better picture for that performance.
All right, so Sean gives the first vote towards Papa West there. We're going to move over to Chris Diaz. Chris Diaz, in 30 seconds or less, give us your general reason of what swayed you and who you're picking.
Yeah, it Papa, he really went into the detail about the duality performance, voice acting performance. He gave detail to detail. And he rebutted Avatar down so badly, one after another, talk about the more important character and the Donna character, I forget her name, but yeah, they got wondered.
All right. So with that said, we have 2 points. 2 votes for Jacob on that one, so he's going to be getting the second point here on question 3. And now we are going to go over to the fourth question, and this is a scenario that Jordan needs to hit this, or Papa West will be getting the game. And if Jordan does hit this, we'll be going on to 5. What is the worst Star Wars film in the Disney era? Thank you. Jacob, you were going to be going first on this one, so whenever you begin speaking, I'm going to head out, and you can hit us with your opening.
So the Disney era of Star Wars has seen some great moments, has seen some bad moments, some stuff that we have not asked for that we're like, man, I really should have asked for that. And also stuff we haven't asked for that we were like, I didn't want to see that anyway. One of the best characters in all of Star Wars has to be Han Solo. Everyone's favorite scruffy-looking nerf herder. No one really wanted to see how Han Solo became Han Solo. And after this film, we don't really care. I am picking Solo, A Star Wars Story. Biggest thing is you have to cast Han Solo. They chose Alden Ehrenreich. Has no charisma. And what is Han Solo? Fucking charisma. There's a lot of other bad stuff about this film. They take away his ability to fly. He's an amazing pilot. Oh, secretly, it's a robot in the Millennium Falcon that causes him to be able to fly.
And time. We're going to bounce over to Jordan for his 1 minute. He's going to introduce his film and give his opening whenever you begin.
All right, guys, let's do it. Let's go to episode 9, Rise of Skywalker. We've taken years to get to this point here. We started off with the very fan-servicey episode 7. I enjoyed it. The theater experience I went to quite enjoyed it. Then we kind of segued some different areas here in 8. Took a U-turn, and then we took another U-turn and a sideways diagonal to number 9, and it is just not the way we wanted to end things. It is maybe the biggest disappointment of the year. It really just left a sour taste. You didn't answer several things. you split off and weird endings for certain characters. It just everything that we had wanted to see in this big wrap up that had taken all these years. The last things we had gotten were the prequels, which were very divisive. Now we got this new trilogy, and it's for it to start off so hot and end on such a whimper. It was such a big disappointment.
And time. We're gonna bounce over to Jacob, as we are having Solo: Star Wars Story versus Episode 9: Rise of Skywalker. Jacob, when you begin speaking, 2 minutes.
The problem with the sequel trilogy is not Rise of Skywalker. The problem is with The Last Jedi. You have all this buildup from A Force Awakens that literally gets thrown in the trash and sliced in half. Kevin, do you get that reference? In The Last Jedi. So now The Rise of Skywalker has like just a bunch of rambled, jumbled up mess that they have to put together. And they actually did a decent job of making a good film out of it. One thing a lot of people were talking about with the sequel trilogy, we want to see some legend stuff. We want to see Mara Jade, Darth Krayt. Well, there's this book called Dark Empire, which is a Legends book, which sees Luke Skywalker, which sees two great things. First off, Boba Fett comes back because the Sarlacc cannot digest Beskar. The second thing is it sees Palpatine come back. Luke Skywalker is on a planet, and he sees Palpatine, and he's like, that's not Palpatine. And then next thing he knows, he's in a room, and Palpatine's there again and starts attacking him. Come to find out, in the basement of the room is like 2,000 clones. So you see Luke Skywalker kill a clone, Palpatine possess another clone, and come back. It's an amazing scene that people actually asked for to see in the sequel trilogy, which you see in Rise of Skywalker. It did a great job of fixing some of the mistakes that happened with The Last Jedi, and actually made a decent film out of it. Plus, when you think of Star Wars, you think of lightsaber battles. Rey and Kylo Ren fighting on the Death Star. The rubble of it is amazing. You get to see some of Rey training to become a Jedi, which is stuff you haven't seen before, which is stuff that people have asked for, which actually worked. And then, hey, Palpatine's a clone. We've seen it before, and it worked. Whereas Solo: A Star Wars Story doesn't work.
And time. All right, we're going to bounce back over to Jordan for his 2 minutes before we get into the freeform. 2 minutes, and you begin speaking.
All right, so I don't get the hate that you gave for Eldon Ehrenreich. To a degree, anyone that wasn't Harrison Ford, some people were going to be against. A lot of people, including myself, thought Eldon was a pretty good choice here, and he does breathe some life and a little bit of difference for Solo here. And I thought it lived up to the expectations that I had, which is where you can really differ on these two movies here, because you got this prequel of just kind of having a fun origin story. And that's what you got here. You got your Chewbacca. You have really fun Woody Harrelson, a little bit of Darth Maul. I thought it gave a lot of people what they really wanted from this. You took a turn in Last Jedi. And see, this is where, again, me and you will disagree on. I didn't mind Last Jedi because it dared to do something different and avert expectations. And it didn't necessarily disrespect where the last movie had started. It just said, all right, hey, you think we're going here? No. Maybe not, we're going to go there. But it very much made sense to what they were going. This movie now all of a sudden was like, nah, F that last movie. We're not doing that. We're not going to end with giving you answers to that we started last movie. We're going to reverse. Is he good? Is he bad? No, now he's back to being bad. They just played with the emotions. They went back to the director of the first one here, who can make a nice, fun, fancy action movie. Same thing as the guy from Solo. So, yes, there's some fun action stuff in both of our movies. But yours was very harmless and fun. Mine left so many people. We started off at such a high coming to that first one, and it left us off with such a whimper coming out of that third one here, because it just backtracked on everything here. Your movie very much, I felt, delivered on what we wanted here with some new stuff that we hadn't seen. Tandy Newton's quite good in it as well. The first is off to where, really just backtracking on where our mind came from. So.
And time. All right. So, once again, Solo Star Wars Story versus Star Wars Episode 9 Rise of Skywalker. 4 minutes when one of you begins speaking.
So Jordan, Tandy Newton's character is not fun. And plus, she's only in the film for maybe 10 minutes because she dies. Yes, I will say Alden Ehrenreich gives a good performance as a Star Wars smuggler, but he is not Han Solo. Guess what? No one can live up to Harrison Ford, and it proved it right here, which made Solo a bad film.
You just proved my point by saying that sentence, that you're the kind of fan, you were never going to be happy no matter who was in it. So I think you kind of see with blinders when it comes to Alden Ehrenreich and his performance, because you're that guy that's going to go, it's not Harrison, it's not Han, I'm out. It doesn't matter who did it. You just proved that. And the fact that Tandy dies so soon and the way it happens too, I was sucked in by that. I was like, oh, okay. And it advanced the plot. So actually I thought it did work.
And so first off, I just want to say, when I heard that Alden Ehrenreich was being cast in the movie, I was excited because I think people can live up to Harrison Ford. He is a man. He's not my Lord and Savior by any stretch of the imagination. That's Liam Neeson. I was kind of excited, but he has like no charisma. You see him on Corellia, where he's flying the ship, and he's just like, "We're gonna go fast. They're not gonna catch us." Like he's a bland character throughout the film. The whole meeting Chewbacca,
outvert charisma, and then having that cool, calm collection. I bought him at that. I thought he was cool. He was fun. I enjoyed the way him and Chewbacca met each other, and the little brawl they had, which then leads to the friendship. Like I dug for all that. I thought there was fun to be had in this character.
There could have been fun, but it didn't live up. And again, when you think of Han Solo, an expert pilot, he made the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs. Well, he tried to make several maneuvers throughout the film, did not hit. When they put L3's computer into the Millennium Falcon, all of a sudden, he's able to start hitting all these maneuvers. Guess what? When Rey has the Millennium Falcon in The Force Awakens, she is able to do these maneuvers. This film took an amazing character in Han Solo and ruined him. Plus, when you think of Star Wars, you think of Amazing Worlds. Savareen and Kessel are literally the same place. They're desert. There's nothing to these places. At least with Rise of Skywalker, you have that desert planet where there's that really cool festival. You have that really cool snake creature that pops up. Then you have Exegol, that ice planet. You have that jungle planet.
That was unnecessary, all that festival stuff. So, and your movie also gave us, your people also gave us Donald Glover, which everyone wants a spinoff of. So, your movie gave us characters that we did really like.
Yes, mine had one highlight. That was Lando Calrissian, who outshined Han Solo in a film called Solo. Yet one redeeming quality, but it ruined another character. It doesn't have memorable characters outside of Han Solo and Lando Calrissian, who have been introduced in the series before this film. With Rise of Skywalker, you have memorable characters. I'm not a big Beckett fan. I'm glad he died. Darth Maul is thrown in right at the end, also in a movie beforehand. With Rise of Skywalker, you have the chick who Poe had a crush with. Of course, I can't remember her name. Great character. And also, Babu Freak. Like, best character in any Star Wars film. Fight me on that. Oh, wait,
I think almost every Star Wars fan would fight you on that in many different ways.
But he's better than any character in Solo: A Star Wars Story, except for
I don't agree with that. Lando Calrissian. There's about 4 to 5 that are better than him.
And time. Maybe he will in his closing. So we're going to start off with Papa West in your closing. 1 minute when you've been speaking.
Solo: A Star Wars Story had a very easy thing to do. Make Han Solo. They didn't do it. They ruined Han Solo. Rise of Skywalker, they're like, hey, this trilogy is not what we've been expecting it to be. J.J. Abrams, fix it. Guess what? He took a pile of crumpled up garbage and made a good film out of it. You're rooting for characters throughout the entire film. You have these amazing planets, which is what Star Wars is. You have the toy collectible of Babu Frick, which is exactly why he's in there, which is exactly why Ewoks were there, which is exactly why Porbs were there, which is exactly why you had all the pod racers in Episode 1. Rise of Skywalker is a Star Wars film. It's a really good film. Solo Star Wars Story is trying to make a character, make him who we've seen him, which they didn't.
And time. All right. Last prepped debate question. One final minute from Jordan Owens, and then we're going to get into our judges' decisions when you begin speaking.
I feel like Solo succeeded in what it wanted to be, a fun prequel. You throw in a very hot, yes, charismatic. He is fun in it. And you give us a couple of new characters, a couple Easter eggs. I was cool with it, man. And the thing is, there's nothing else that led me to needing anything more than what I got out of Solo. With Last Jedi here, Last Jedi had set up something. Rian Johnson knows how to make a good film. Looper, Brick. And then all of a sudden, we just diverted, and it just went backtracked on that. And if you're going to make these decisions, you stand by them, and they weren't bad decisions. And in the end, it just feels like we're getting three different visions all battling each other. And I just feel like from the crowd response that I left in that first one, and just the kind of silence and mediocrity that we come out of that third one with, it is just it doesn't leave you fulfilled. People want to see more of these characters done correctly. Boyega didn't enjoy his time. Oscar Isaac didn't enjoy where his character left off at.
And time. Woo! All right, folks. That is the end of the prepped fight. We are going to bring the judges on so we can decide if we're going to go on to the blind fight or not. So, let's just put it this way while they're thinking. This would have been a fun one for me to judge. So we are going to start off with Chad. In 30 seconds or less, provide a general reasoning on why you're picking who you're picking and who it is.
All right. Yep. I picked Jordan for this one. The reason was because he basically had a good defense of The Last Jedi and how it dared to do something different, and it wasn't the thing that destroyed that trilogy, whereas Skywalker said basically fuck the last movie. And then he made the point that there was fun stuff in both of the movies, and that the bad stuff in Solo was basically harmless because it was a Solo movie. And then Rise of Skywalker basically just like had to backtrack a lot. So
all right, so that's one vote towards Jordan. We're going to go over to Sean. In 30 seconds less, please provide a general reasoning on who you're picking and who it is.
This was a fantastic question. Whoever's writing these questions is doing a really good job. I felt like with Papa, all the good points he was bringing up about the Rise of Skywalker, he was meaning them to be good, but for me, it just brought the film down. And I felt like Jordan had a lot of good points about Solo, especially bringing up that people want a Solo Lando film. Like, that'd be great. So I'm going with Jordan for this.
All right. I guess we are going to be going on to the blind fight because we have a tie game. Damn it. I did it again. We have a tie game 2-2. I guess tie is just my new catchphrase. All right. So we're going to bring the competitors on, break down how the blind fight goes, and we're going to have some fun. Yes, that is exactly. Cover your eyes. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say something in the form of a question. You are going to provide your answer. Shout it out whenever you want. And then afterwards, I will follow up with another question. So it's kind of like, whatever. We'll figure it out. It's pretty self-explanatory. So with that said, are we ready? I know. Nerves are racking. All right. So what we're going to do. I'm nervous. A lot of pressure. On my last one I hosted, I didn't do this, so I didn't get a chance to. All right, you ready? Name a James Wan film. That is okay, Kevin.
Aquaman.
All right, so I got Aquaman from Jordan first.
Okay. Final Destination.
Final Destination. Let me fact check. That doesn't sound familiar. Really?
Have you never heard of Final Destination?
No, I know the movie, but I'm saying in relation to James Wan.
Pretty sure he directed it.
Not agreeing there.
Oh,
Quick fact check. Not James Wan.
No, that's James Wong.
it's James Wong with a G.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
give me a second.
We were.
My bad on the early drop.
Okay,
We won't get into that.
The Conjuring.
Okay.
I got a letter wrong. Jesus Christ, guys.
I'm not. We'll talk about it later. All right. So, gentlemen, the question is, what is the best James Wan film? We'll see how the magic of editing works, if that's a surprise to everyone in the comments or not. With that said, we are going to start off with Jacob, since he is the favorite. It's going to be like a regular match, except you didn't prep. I'm actually going to give you a couple seconds now to prep, and I just remembered that just now. So, Kevin, if you want to bring everyone on, give them about 5 minutes or so to prep as much as they want, or, however, whenever you guys are ready. But I just remember that's how we do it. Aaron, right? All right, so we had some time to prep, and the magic of editing, you don't know that, but they know that. So we are going to start off with, again, I'm just loving this. Papa West, you are the favorite. You're going to be going first. You're going to approach this just like a normal match. So it's going to be 1 minute opening, 2 minute rebuttal, 4 minute open ground, and then 1 minute closing. So, Papa, whenever you start speaking, you will be going first.
When you think of James Wan, one thing automatically pops up, and that is the word horror, because James Wan is a fantastic horror director. This is obviously seen in his film, The Conjuring. This film would go on to start a tremendous franchise that I believe is called The Conjuring franchise, or the Really Scary Movie franchise, the Spooky franchise. There were 3 Conjuring films, 3 Annabelle films. You also had The Nun and The Curse of Ya Llorona. This film started it. You have an amazing set piece, The Perrin Home, which is in Rhode Island. Turns out to be haunted. You have really creepy scenes. The scene where the mother is downstairs in the basement. They have that game where they clap. You just see her on the stairs, and you see the hands pop up beside her and clap. Super scary. Very well done. The film looks beautiful, and that's why it's James Wan's best film.
And time. All right, so James Wan's directed The Conjuring from Papa West, and we're going to bounce over to to Jordan. Hear his opening whenever you begin speaking.
All right, so I don't love Aquaman, and I mean that as a character. I think of all those jokes we've seen on Robot Chicken to Big Bang Theory, and the DCU. I'm one of those guys that I didn't necessarily love, like Man of Steel. I was kind of iffy, so I walked in this thing a little trepidatious. But man, I thought between Juan and Momoa, they breathed so much life into this movie and made it so much fun. They knew what movie they were making, from the guitar riffs to the action scenes. I love the world building. He was able to inject a little bit of that horror with the sea creatures. I thought this thing ended up being so much fun. It also showed a different side of this director here. You know what I mean? We know from the very first Saw to the other Conjurings and Insidious that he's been a part of. We know that he can do those movies in his sleep. This was fun to see that this guy can also have a big world. This guy can do fun with work with CGI as well, and I really like Aquaman.
All right, we're getting a little wet. We're getting a little scary. Rebuttal time. Papa, 2 minutes when you boo again. Just kidding.
Ah! Saying Aquaman is one of the better DCU films is not hard to say because a lot of the DCU is garbage. Guess what? He doesn't really have a lot of creative freedom because he's being forced by Warner Bros. And Detective Comics to create a world. He's not creating anything because Atlantis, we've seen. You have all these tribes that he visits, all these set pieces, the stuff we have seen in comics. He is literally creating a world in The Conjuring, and you get to see him actually create a story. Whereas Aquaman, he has to follow certain sets that the Warner Bros. Is telling him to hit. Another thing, Aquaman, it looks really weird underwater. All of the action set pieces just look really weird. And whenever whenever your movie is about a superhero who has powers underwater, is only powerful underwater, and spends most of the film underwater, it really detracts a lot of it. King Orm is not a great villain. He's an entitled little bitch. He's not believable as a villain. And then you also just throw in Black Manta, because of course we have to throw in Black Manta, because, oh, his father died and he's getting revenge for his father. Happens in every single comic book. Killmonger did it better in Black Panther. You don't fall in love with these creatures or with these characters, which is weird because you have a great cast that you really just don't care about. William Dafoe, no one cares about. Dolph Lundgren, no one cares about. Amber Heard, we're not going to say her name because she is Satan incarnate. And then, of course, you have Arthur Curry, Jason Momoa, Aquaman.
All right, we have scary people in one movie, and we have Satan in another. Jordan, 2 minutes when you begin speaking.
Oh boy. I mean, first of all, you talk about your franchise, and I don't know if we would want to be admitting that they're also tied into The Nun and La Llorona. This franchise has some weak parts. Wait, you're going to try to prop up your world building? What world building? A slab brown-looking house? It's not really a whole lot of world building. Most of it takes place in one house with a family, and there's some scares with some lighting. Oh, we haven't seen that done before. Yes, Atlantis is in the comics, but we all know that comics can mess it up when it comes to translating to the big screen. He does it big, vibrant battles. I love the battles from underneath. I'm not really sure what you're referencing. With sharks and laser beams. Come on, it gave us what we wanted, my friend. Atlantis really created the world. And, you talk about characters versus our characters. Yours is it's an interchangeable family from one Conjuring to a next. I mean, can you name all the different little girls, and if there's what the character differences between all the little girls in your movie? No, you can't, because they're just little girls that scary things will happen around. I love some of the relationships in my movie. We won't mention the devil, as you said, but I really liked some of the backstory they gave with Nicole Kidman as the mom and his dad. I thought that was a good little add-on, and when they went back to it at the end, my heart kind of became a little bit of a flutter. I like that we got just a little bit, and we'll get hopefully more of Black Manta. We got Abdul Mateen. That's one of the first movies I remember seeing him in and going, okay, that dude's doing something. And we've seen him do some great things, from Trials Chicago 7 to Candyman coming up. So it's given us, again, a great eclectic cast that he's able to put together, including my movie has the better Patrick Wilson performance. You knocked it, but that's what the character is supposed to be. You want to see that character get his ass kicked at the end, and you finally do get that, and you feel very complete with it. Yours is, like I said, it's a brown, scary movie we've seen before.
Time. Save that thought. All right, so this is a half prepped question, as in you got 5 minutes to do so. 4 minutes open, freeform fighting. I don't know if you're going to go underwater or if you're going to go into our dreams, but 4 minutes when you've been speaking, let them fight.
So, Jordan, the fact that the scary franchise, whatever it's actually called, has some down moments doesn't mean anything for my argument, because it's a separate movie. I'm just saying my movie started a great idea and started a franchise. Guess what? You're not going to have a crappy movie start a franchise. It has to be well received. It has to be a hit, which is exactly what this film was.
Guess how many people are jumping at the bid for Aquaman 2? We're ready for more Momoa. We're ready for more of that world. We're looking for more.
Because we love
Panther,
superheroes.
No, because we also know we love superheroes, but if a movie's bad, fan-forstic, we'll let people know, and there won't be another one. No third Andrew Garfield. People want more of this world. People want to see, in fact, they like this world so much, they wanted a spinoff from our director with the sea creatures from the bottom. Like, we want to see more of that. That's how much we like this world. We want a character, these characters that were in a chunk of it, to have their own hour-and-a-half movie now. That's how much we want to see it.
After watching Aquaman, no one was like, man, the creatures from the core were amazing. I want to see more of those. No, they were literally just thrown.
There's talks for it. What are you talking about?
There was what?
There's talks for that movie. That's happened. That's very much happened.
Of little random creatures that live in the core. No one was wanting that. And also sharks with laser beams. That's Austin Powers. Not in this film.
And because this movie embraces having fun with the guitar riffs to the one-liners, like this movie embraces that world. That's what I like.
So if it embraces it, where's the sharks with laser beams?
Man of Steel, it tried to be its own thing. It's in more of the realm of a Shazam and knows what it is, and it has so much fun. Your thing, it's got a couple of fun scares. We all the clap thing that we do. Other than that, it blends into everything else we've seen from him. It's nothing that he can't do, and that he can do probably better in a different franchise. That's why he's left that franchise, tried to do other things. This was a pleasant surprise that he can do this kind of action film.
It really wasn't a pleasant surprise because again, it's a comic book character who we've seen before in Justice League, who everyone's like, oh, I actually like this character. And you say it's like Shazam. Shazam is light and funny. This film is like dark. There's not really a lot of
this has a very
funniness.
good balance. This is not dark. There's so many moments that make you laugh and make you smile. This is not dark, and it took that Justice League character and it brought it way up, man. People walked out very flaky on most of those characters here, including Aquaman, and that's why there was trepidations walking into it. And then that's when the fan view started coming out, and that's what brought it and has brought it out to where people are very much excited for another one.
Yeah, and you know what people are excited for too? The Conjuring 3, which just came out. Every single film in that franchise.
Want nothing to do with it.
People were excited to see. Yeah, and we don't know if Aquaman 2 will be good or not. People are excited about franchises. It's why the MCU has become such a great thing.
And that's why this
because
is a
people
good
love
for
franchises.
DCU. Because DCU found the right balance with this movie, almost like an MCU. They found the right balance of not being too serious like a Man of Steel, but also not going too gimmicky as well, like a Thor Ragnarok. This has the right balance of your fights. When the people fight, you can see some blood, you can see the effects that are worn on them, and then you have a real character you can really kind of believe in Aquaman. Jason Momoa, we talked about charisma earlier. He oozes the charisma. Overall, what is it? Patrick Wilson as your main character and his wife. And they're fine. They could be replaced. If they were replaced every movie, people would be fine with that.
No, they wouldn't.
They'd still want it.
Okay.
And time.
There we go.
All right. So with that said, we are done fighting. Not as much blood is shed as I would have hoped, but hey, that's just me. Jacob, 1 minute for your closing when you are ready.
You made the comment about how you're excited about Yahya Abdul-Mateen III. Guess what? I've seen better performances from him in Detroit. He wasn't that great of a performance in this film. Again, his father dies, so he's going to get revenge. Killmonger. That's Black Panther. Nothing creative about that. Killmonger does it better. Patrick Wilson in Aquaman is a little stuck up, snooty bitch. Like I don't root for him. Whereas in The Conjuring, you have no idea who this family is, the parents, but you fall in love with them immediately. You have where the mother is tied up because she's possessed, covered under a sheet, and flying in the middle of that basement, you are scared to death because that is what this film is supposed to do. It is supposed to scare you. And that's what it does. And it started a franchise. It is the best James Wan film.
And we will now hear Jordan's opinion in his closing when he begins speaking.
You try to act like my movie is cliche, man. Yeah, we've also seen pretty much everything your movie has to offer and done better. Sometimes in other James Wan movies. You mentioned all the things with the kids. We've seen it. It's called The Others. We've seen it. It's on Netflix specials and series. We've seen all that done before as well. Fall in love with those characters? No, they're interchangeable, man. I like the family better from the second one. I much more was because they had focus on one daughter specifically. This one is just three little girls. They're all kind of similar age, running around. Some spooky stuff happens. Cool, it gets solved. Moving on to the next house, the next case. They are so interchangeable, all these characters. You can't interchange these characters. You do care about Aquaman and what ends up with his mother at one point. You very much care about that. And, it gave us the introduction of Yaya. It gave us the introduction of this world and some fun stuff with Dolph Lundgren's in it. And I very much want to revisit this world with these exact characters. You can't do another Aquaman without Momoa, but you can do Conjuring with Rainn Wilson.
That is definitely an interesting, the Wilson verse, Rainn versus Patrick, fight to the death for who's the better Wilson. All right, so with that said, these competitors are done for the night debating. Going to bring my co-judges on here with me, and they will be deciding who is the movie battlegroundist of them all. So we're going to start with Sean. I don't know if you need some time, but when you are ready, 30 seconds or less, give us a general idea of what you're thinking and who you're picking.
There was a lot of talk about, Conjuring starting off a franchise, but so did Aquaman. We're getting Aquaman 2. Not all superheroes, like Jordan said, get sequels. And I really like Jordan's argument about the family and the characters are very interchangeable between the two of them. He had a lot of really good points about Aquaman and how it is one of the better DC EU films. So I'm going with Jordan.
All right. So the first votes in the blind round is going to Jordan. We're going to bounce over to Chad. In 30 seconds or less, please let us know your thought process and who you are picking.
Yeah, I also went with Jordan on this one. And the reason being is because he, while Papa said that, James Wan does a lot of, horror is what he does. I feel like Jordan was like, he injected horror into this big Aquaman movie. It showed a different side to the director. He can work with CGI, have fun with world building, and it's different while The Conjuring kind of blends into the other stuff that he's done, like Insidious and Saw.
All right, so with that said, and your winner with a score of 3-2, Jordan Owens. Man, it's almost as if I'd only said that 42 times before we got it right. Jordan, this was a really fun fight. I'm just a host, so I can't necessarily give my opinions on my thought process, but I will say that regardless of what they chose, I really think the judges did a great job tonight. What were your thoughts? Like you said, you went into this kind of half and half with a little bit of prep and a little bit of going with the flow. Do you feel like you surprised yourself, not only getting a win, but just your quality of debating? Or is this one of those things where you low-key knew what you had in the tank and you were just kind of hustling?
No, I think I was pretty honest. There's definitely, I think you saw from the questions I lost and the ones I got, there's definitely some ones that I was more sure of, more passionate about. I think you can kind of tell sometimes, some of the ones that he won, I ain't going to disagree. So, but no, man, it was a tough battle. I wasn't sure how I was going to go in the end, man. He's a very worthy competitor, as you saw, very well prepped. Definitely more than me. He had those names down. He had all that stuff down. So maybe a little more prep is indeed needed for me in the future. But yeah, no, I mean, very, very excited to get the W. I was happy just to make it to tiebreaker. I was happy with that to at least take him to the limit. And so yeah, good times. Thanks for having me, and look forward to doing it again.
And I can tell you that now that you won this, you will be playing Caleb Hansen in the 1-0 bracket. So I'm not sure if you had a chance to watch the tape, but I recommend
I
it. It'd
will.
be a fun one. And does the name ring a bell? Is it one thing that you're gonna have some ideas going in, or is it one of those we'll just see how it goes by the time we get there?
I'll like you said, I'll watch the tape. That's not a name I'm too familiar with. So yeah, no, I'm not sure what to expect. So I'll have to do a little bit of tape studying, as you said.
There we go. All right, so congratulations on your 1-0. Can't wait to see you in your
Thanks,
next
sir.
one, and we're gonna bounce over to Papa West. Papa, I know as we all saw, you are a valiant competitor. You brought the prep and you just brought the passion on most of these questions, if not all of them. Obviously, losing is not what we want to do, but how do you feel given the effort going to the final question? And what are your thoughts once you mute yourself? And he didn't. Even after I said it, even after I tried to lay it up, and you just didn't take it.
Yes, you laid it up, and I pulled the LeBron and tried to dunk it, and it hit the rim and bounced away. I'm sure he's done that one time. Fun fact: I hate LeBron James. No one can say he's the greatest of all time. But no, I am definitely really upset with myself. I do prep really hard for these, and the fact that I couldn't sell that Solo, a Star Wars movie, as a garbage film that kills Han Solo as a character just infuriates me.
Yeah, that's one of those. Whenever you go into a question, I think I don't know exactly which match it was, but you can just tell sometimes when you are a little too passionate about a subject, you kind of take away the strategy and the general debating ideology that you should have, and it kind of gets in the way. And maybe that was the case, maybe it wasn't. Obviously, you'll have to review the tape in the future, but you will be facing Noah McCausland, who may or may not have lost to me. So what are your thoughts about that match? I know obviously you watched the tape at this point. Are you excited for that? Are you nervous for that? Or is it one of those where it doesn't matter who the name is, you're out for blood?
So fun fact, there was a Game Zone debate, which is a league that is not here anymore, where I, again, was really prepared and lost. And I took that focus of being upset and out for blood with every single match, which afterwards is where I got the idea to wear a shirt and tie for almost every debate that I did.
Interesting.
And I turned out winning the belt in Game Zone. So we'll see. Movies isn't my strong suit, which is funny because I run movie trivia leagues, but you always have that random, I don't know who the fuck that is. So we'll see, but I'm out for blood.
There we go. So I'm definitely excited to see that because as I said, and as Jordan said, you're a valiant competitor. You're going to bring the heat. And Noah, he's a good competitor as well, but obviously you're going to be out for blood. So with that said, I would like to give as we bring Jordan back on here, I would like to give a special shout out to Jordan Owens. Congratulations on your win. Papa West, congratulations on making the final question. Not winning is always a tough thing, but if you can make it as far as you did, then that just shows, hey, it is better than some people who lose. So shout out to Kevin Poss, who ran the stream, that produced behind the scenes. Shout out to Aaron Canole, who we all know what he brings to the table and everything that he does. And shout out to my judges, Chris Diaz, Sean Hunter, and Chadwick Webb. They did a great job judging today, and we all agree that they did a good job. So I'm Henry Confidential. If you're not familiar with me, there will be Movies Henry Confidential on YouTube, and There Will Be Movies Facebook group. I had some fun. If you didn't already watch my debate, go ahead and check it out because it may or may not have been interesting. And check out every other debate here on TMG Entertainment. Check out all the other content that's on the channels, and any other information you need, message Aaron because we all love bothering him. Henry Confidential, everyone here, Movie Battleground, we're out.